You're on.
Second.
You're on.
Hey, Oregon. Here we are, day, what is this, Ben? Is this March 396th, 2020?
It's the 2-week lockdown, remember? Just to flatten the curve.
Yeah.
14
Well, here
days.
we are. Here we are, Oregon. I'm David Darnell with Restore Oregon. This is Ben Edel with Free Oregon. And, you know, the governor did it to us again today, Ben. Here we are. Almost half the counties now are going to go into lockdown.
Except Washington County?
Yeah. Yeah, 15 counties now are going to go back into lockdown. We're over a year into 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And I'm just wondering, how much more can Oregonians take?
I can't take any more.
I can't either.
You know, it's crazy to me. You know, the one thing that this is the big why, right? The big, huge why, the big elephant in the room. What does it need to look like so that we get our liberty back, Kate Brown? What does it need to look like? But she won't say it. Fauci won't say it. Whoever the new director of the CDC won't say it. Well, yeah, you know, new scientific or related data says that you cannot wear your mask outside and you're at very low risk of infection. Duh. And the MIT study that says that the particles that cause COVID-19 are 1,000 times smaller than the distance between threads in a KN95.
Yeah.
So that it's 6 feet or 60 feet, wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, it doesn't matter. And it's a peer-reviewed study from, I'm sorry, MIT. Hello. But let's just that means we can take our masks off outside.
Yeah. And since, how did we get in a place, Ben, where the government is telling us what we can and cannot do outside? I mean, what the hell? How did we get here? How did we get here? I mean, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I mean, we're over a year into 2 weeks to flatten the curve. As you say, the goalposts keep moving. We don't know when we can have, you know, a normal life like we had a little bit over a year ago. Businesses don't have the slightest idea whether or not they can be open for business 1 week from the next. And here we are, you know, both good counties I live in, Marion and Josephine County, I live in both of them. I can't go out and have dinner on Friday night. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, I'll say this, business owners, I was a business owner for a long time. In fact, this past 2020, I was in the cafe business, so I had multiple cafes. I can't impress upon you enough that the normal small business owner that owns a restaurant or a cafe needs to stay away from the politics, right? They got to go, hey, look, you know, we're going to just take the blows, you try to figure it out, try to get through it. For every changing regulation, their job is to adapt and find a way to get through. And that wick is gone. I will tell you this right now. Even the most liberal, even if they're a Marxist restaurant owner, which I've not met one yet, there could be some out there. I've met some Marxist cafe owners and coffee in Portland, though. I'll tell you that right now. They're there. But they're going to run out of runway in terms of completely losing their minds. I mean, let's go up, let's go down, let's go up. I mean, Kate Brown is so out of touch with reality, with the people of her state. The Democrat Party is allowing this to go on and on and on. I can't tell you how many, again, another one today. Guy messages us from to Free Oregon, and I get this long response form message talking about how he's a Democrat. All his friends are Democrats. They're born and raised in Portland. You know, his family has been here for over 100 years in the city of Portland, and they do not know what to do anymore. They're afraid to speak out. They don't know what to do. They're absolutely terrified of what's happening. And these are your standard Portland liberal Democrats. They're terrified. They're just as terrified as we are. They're just as terrified.
Yeah. Well, it's understandable. I mean, I'm not sure how many jobs have been lost over this and how many businesses have gone down the tube. I think there's like 1,000 restaurants that have gone out of business. And, you know, and we don't know how long this next lockdown will be, how many more restaurants will go out of business. We're all running around with, you know, our face covered up. You can't see anybody, isolates people, separates us. You can't see anybody smile. It's dehumanizing. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And the reason, what's that?
It's totally crazy. When are people going to wake up? You know, I was calling for this last August. finally just going, I'm losing my head here. Why is it that everyone, I am in 97224. I've spent my whole working life in Multnomah County, close in Portland. And like, no one is not wearing a mask. No one. All year long, everyone's wearing a mask. You don't see people walking through the grocery store without a mask or going into the restaurants without a mask. Everyone's wearing a mask. But you know what's happened since the very beginning of this pandemic? You know what's happened is the numbers have gone up into spring, peaks in summer, it drops back down, it goes up into spring, just like it is right now. It's on its way up. Not because of masks, not because of anything. It's basic virology. It's seasonal. It goes around. Masks do not protect you. If they did, then COVID-19 would go the way of the flu, the dodo bird. The flu is now eradicated. You know why? Because you can catch flu off a countertop. You can catch flu in spit droplets, but you can't get COVID off a countertop. You can't get COVID off a spit droplets because it's aerosol spread. Aerosol. It means that the particles, which are 1,000 times smaller than the distance between threads on a KN95, are in the air floating. And if you're so sick and so sick that you've got this cloud like Lionel from the Peanuts following you around COVID, and you're that's the only way you're going to get somebody sick. Even if you're asymptomatic, there's not one study, not one. There was one in Wuhan. There was out of 3 million cases, there was not one single infection-based transmission of COVID that was asymptomatic. Now, I don't know who to trust least, China or Fauci or Brown. It's just I don't know. Who do you trust?
I don't know. Well, I trust myself. I trust myself, Ben. I trust myself. I trust everyone that's watching. I trust you, all the people I know, to make their own decisions for their own health. I mean, I know what's best for me. You know what's best for you. If I were fearful, I would stay home. I am not fearful. And you mentioned it. People need to wake up. People need to stand up. And if you're on social media, well, if you're watching this, you're on social media, you're in digital media, you see it all the time. You see people, yelling in caps, wake up people, stand up people. What does that look like? Well, I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like what we are doing here. This Stand for Freedom Project, we have put together a petition for people to support. We have over 6,000 signatures today. We just launched 7 days ago. And the petition is to support a resolution that we can take to counties and cities that says, no, enough of these executive orders, enough of these laws that conflict with the Oregon Constitution, conflict with the U.S. Constitution. In our city, in our county in Oregon, whichever city or whichever county that it means, we are not going to enforce this crap. We're going to live our lives like free Americans.
That's right.
And that's why we're here tonight, to let everybody know this is what you do. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to stand up. Are you awake? You probably are. That's why you're watching this. Do this. Sign this petition. Get everyone you know to sign this petition.
Sign it and send it. Sign it and send it.
Sign it and send it. So, you can go to our website. We have petitions you can download and you can print out on your printer. You can take them to church. You can take them to work. You can leave them at business. Yep. Take them to church. Take them to work. Take them everywhere you go. Take them to those when you go in and get your takeout this Friday, because the governor won't allow you to eat inside a restaurant like a civilized human being. When you got to eat out in the damn parking lot, and you got burger juice all over your nice car seats and all that crap. Take one to that restaurant and leave it right there at the counter where people come in and get their food, because they're not allowed to eat inside.
Yeah, and you know what they do? You know what they do? Go down 23rd or go down 21st Ave in Northwest Portland.
There you go.
Go drive through the Pearl District and check out what their restaurants did, because there's no indoor dining. So what they do is they put up 4 walls and a ceiling, and then they add climate control with the heaters, and now it's outdoors. Yeah. We have indoor outdoor seating because, we can only have 25% indoors, but we can have 50% outdoors, even if it's indoor seating. Yeah, it's very powerful. And you know what you can do in Oregon right now, as of Friday? You can cram your ass into an airplane and sit butt to butt, shoulder to shoulder with a pile of people, and it's all good, because in an airplane, you're fine. It's just at restaurants and gyms.
Yeah.
Gyms especially now, you can only have 6 people at your gym. Even if you have a 60,000 square foot facility, you only can have 6.
Man, where did that come from? Who in the hell thought that up, Ben?
Yeah,
what kind of rocket scientists do they have working advising the governor?
Well, it's not MIT. I'll tell you that right
now. No, it's not. It's not.
It's bizarre. It's arbitrary, bizarre, and it's time. I mean, I'm telling you, this is happening because we are allowing it to happen.
It is.
We're not allowing it to happen. In fact, speaking of not allowing it to happen, I have a question. It's for a friend. But in the simple 1.5 page order, or the what do you call it? It's not an ordinance, but a
resolution.
In the resolution, the word emergency is in it. So it talks about under an emergency order, we're going to be able to act this out. Talk about, because I will admit this, I do have a city that wants to implement this yesterday. And they're hung up on the word during emergency order. So what, can they simply delete that and move it to council? Yeah,
so we had a lawyer draft this, Ben, and everyone who's listening. We had a lawyer draft this resolution. And the purpose of the resolution is really just a template for cities and counties to use. So that they can, they can shelter the people within their jurisdictions. They can shelter the businesses within their jurisdictions from the state enforcing, laws that are in conflict, really, with the Constitution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then our plan is to follow that up. If you have a city that's ready to go, our plan is to follow up that resolution with an ordinance. So there's an ordinance on the book that says we're not going to spend any city time or any city money or any city resources enforcing any kind of law that is in conflict with the U.S. Constitution or the Oregon Constitution. In other words, any executive order, any law that comes out of Salem that is in conflict with a higher law, we are just not going to spend resources, much the same way the state made the sanctuary law, where the state says we will not spend any resources enforcing federal immigration. And so we're going to do this the other way around at the local level. And we're going to give everyone at the county and the city level there's Sissy.
You got a fan base.
She's got something. She's got to show it to me. We're going to give them, we're going to give them an ordinance to point at. So when OSHA comes in and says, hey, we find these people $100 million and they still haven't shut their business. We need your police chief to come shut the business. The police chief can look at that, point to that ordinance and say, nah, we're not doing it.
We're not. Yeah. I love that. That's amazing. What kind of dog is that?
It's a Labrador. I've got 2 of them.
Labrador. Okay.
Yeah, and they're sisters. It's Tina and Sissy. The black one here is Sissy. She puts things in her mouth and she parades around with them, and she wants you to see them.
Yeah, that's the lab, I think. But we have a black lab, and he does the same thing. It's like this, like, hey, look what I got. I'm like, look, no one cares. No one cares. Yeah. I love it. Well, it's so important. It's so important that we have this tool, because that's what it is. It's a tool. Look,
it is.
Think about this for a second. Even if you're listening in right now, you wake up in the morning and it's I go through kind of a little quick meditation process, and there's these rules that God has put around us and that we have, and they're the right and the wrong, and we are totally free spirits that we can manifest and live our lives and create our lives the way that we really want to, because that's how we're aligned, right? That's how we're aligned with what we're meant to do on this earth. And it comes from right here, and it says, go do this. And maybe it's crazy, but we go do it, because when you're plugged in, you learn to follow that, right? And then something comes in, and it's like a government, and the government starts to, like, here's an example. Why in the world, if our federal government, and this is kind of off subject a little bit, they can print trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in 1 year, why do they need to tax us?
What do they what?
Why do they need to tax us? If they can just infinitely print cash, like, why are they taking our money too?
Well, that's MMT, modern monetary theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've moved from Keynesian influenced economics to now MMT, which says that you can print all of the money that you need for everything that you need. And there's no consequence, apparently.
Can I buy a printer somewhere? How does that work?
Well, my kid did that when he was 12 and he got in trouble.
Yeah.
And it was a good looking bill too. He did pretty good. Even the cop said it was good.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, well, that's really good. Actually, that's pretty. I mean, it takes a certain level of talent to figure that one out. But yeah, I mean, I'm blown away. You know, our government for some reason is literally trying to break us, and at the same time has gotten. I think it's a smaller segment of Oregonians. I think that segment is getting smaller and smaller, and you can see like the desperation, like the rioting, or not the rioting, but the big protests over Jeanette Shada this week in the Beaverton School Board. Like there's no debate. If critical race theory is good, then why don't we discuss it in front of everybody and let's just have a debate. But that's kind of how we used to do it. Now it's like, oh, I'm going to call Ben a Proud Boy. Jeanette Shad's a homophobe and a racist. And now we're going to go protest outside. And we're going to just make it a huge mess. And it's like, there's a connection here. Like what about enforcing anti-rioting laws or property destruction? Or, you know, I was talking to a gentleman today from Oregon who was recently arrested and held by the FBI and charged for the January 6th Capitol riot. But meanwhile, almost every single night, basically people can go and attack the ICE building in South Waterfront and nothing happens to them. They can throw IEDs at the police. And this is what we're living in.
Well, yeah, it is. There's no longer an equal application of justice, and now we have a government, especially in the state of Oregon, that is not whose primary goal is not to protect our rights and enforce contracts and the other things that government should do, but to extract obedience from us. And you know, we see it all across the nation. States like South Dakota, Florida, Montana, Idaho, Texas. They're opened up, all the business, you know, you can pack a restaurant, no masks, and there's no refrigerator trucks with forklifts heaping body bags in there, like we were told that was going to happen up at the front end of this thing.
And their COVID numbers are going down.
They are going down, and you know, and every pandemic, I mean, you know, no pandemic, it goes away. I mean, how long did it take to get rid of polio? 50, 60 years? I mean, you know, we're humans and we get these things. And this, you know, this economic assassination that is being perpetrated on small business by the governor of Oregon, it has nothing to do with health or safety. It has nothing to do with protecting anyone's rights.
Yeah, it's okay. They're picking the airlines, they're picking Home Depots, they're picking the Krogers, and they're killing everybody else. And they're eradicating an independent class of people. It always comes back to class and money, doesn't it? Right? It always comes back to class and money. If you can, you know, and it's like the same reason people are flooding our borders. They're not flooding our borders for free healthcare. They don't care about that. They're flooding our borders for the American dream. And the American dream is you can come here from any country in the world under any circumstance, and within your own generation or the next, you can be a part of the ownership class, the upper middle ownership class in this country, because that's what our country is about. And yes, this is the first attack with COVID-19. The very first attack was on our small businesses. It was on our small business. Even Antifa and BLM, who did they attack? They went and attacked the small businesses. It was on day one. They went through it, and they did it in their own neighborhoods. They did it to their own community. This had nothing to do. If you look at the events and the response and the outcome, and it's been repeated over and over and over, just like Kate Brown's lockdowns. There's an event, there's a response, and there's an outcome, and it gets repeated. It gets repeated. Sooner or later, you got to wake up and realize that outcome is intentional.
It is, and the end goal is the destruction of America. All that makes America. The end goal is, you know, something in between communism and socialism, which always ends up in communism anyhow. I mean, these are Marxist principles. These are all Marxist principles. Like you said, it comes down to class. and it comes down to money, the original framework of Marxism was to divide people up by class and divide them up by socioeconomic scale, pit them against each other, overthrow the people who have the means of production, the rich people, and somehow we all live happily ever after. And in the 20th century, that cost about 150 million lives. So it doesn't work. It's not American. But the good news is this. The good news is this. We can do something here in Oregon. If you're wondering, if you know deep down in your heart that something is wrong, you know you must do something and you don't know what to do, start here with the Stand for Freedom Project. Sign the petition, download it, get as many signatures as you can, scan it, email it back to us, take a picture of it with your phone, send it back to us, sign it online, share it everywhere, share it with your email list, share it on the Nextdoor app, share it on Instagram, share it on Twitter, share it every place, Gab, Parler, MeWe, even Facebook. We've got to push back. We've got to push back hard. And the more of us that push back, the bigger and harder the push comes to Salem. We can do this.
We can. And that's the thing I want you to ask yourself is look in your heart and really listen to it, because it's telling you something. Even if you're a Democrat, even if you've been a Democrat your whole life, and I pray Democrats are watching this right now. I doubt there are, but I pray that they do, because there's something that we have common ground on, and that common ground might not be the size of the government or what the government's role in our lives should be. It may never be, but we do have common ground. At least we used to have common ground on the fact that we believed in medical choice, we believed in freedom, we believed in opportunity, and we would debate about how best to achieve those things as a country, and we would have fierce debates about how to achieve those things as a country. And right now, we need to stop thinking about party lines and all these different things that have been drawn in the sand by mostly our media, the crazy conservative insurrectionists. Meanwhile, we have groups that are Antifa that want to end our country. They want to close our borders. They want to abolish the police. They want total and pure chaos, and they want to take it over and turn it into some Marxist utopia of hell. And that's something that no matter what you are, there's a middle of the road, and there's a lot of space to the left and to the right where we have common ground. We have common ground. This is the United States of America. Just one generation from me, they fought and died and shed blood in World War II over the Pacific Theater, over Europe, so that they were fighting totalitarianism and fascism. And I'll tell you right now, cancel culture is just a garbage word for totalitarianism, because that's what it is. And we are fighting it right here, right now. We have to stay here and we have to fight it. Both sides. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yeah.
Well said, Ben. So, hey, we're going to wrap it up here. So what we're saying here, folks, is join 6,329 of your fellow Oregonians and sign this petition.
Sign it and send it.
Sign it and send it. Sign it and send it. Download it, print it out, download it, print it out. Take it to your church, take it to your gym, take it to that guy that's going to be closed for indoor dining this Friday, and have him get signatures for it. Come back and see him, grab it, scan it, take a picture of it, email it back to us. It's time to unmask Oregon. It is time to free Oregon. It is time to open Oregon. It is time to stop the abuse. And it is time to restore Oregon, and it is time to restore Oregon now. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you. Thank you very much, David. And
thank you everybody
for listening. Do not give up. Do not be discouraged. Do not let resentment take you down. That's what they want to do. They want to break us. Keep your spirits high. Take action. Taking action makes you feel better.
Yeah. Good night, all.